Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-host, Jeff Mohr, Crystal, I'm bubbling this. All right, Crystal Cleveland, Christopher G. Mohr. I was trying to shove them two names together, and myself. We'll take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. No retakes. No retakes. All right, tonight we are reviewing The Apology, streaming on SHUDDER. Yay, SHUDDER. All right, joining me this week is my co-host, Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing?
I usually just call him Christopher.
Christopher, that's where I went.
Christopher.
That's what it was earlier.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Doc. I'm sorry for everything I ever did.
Oh my God! It took me a while. I didn't even get it. Wow.
Oh man, I didn't get it until she said she got it. All right.
Yeah.
I gave you misdirection with. I actually called her Christopher in the 80s last.
Oh, nice. I like that. All right, Christopher.
I'm just used to it.
What was your?
You usually try to combine Christopher and my name in some way, shape, or form, and
or Cleveland. Sometimes we just call her Cleveland.
Accepted it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry
my
too.
My brain just does that to me. Anyway, how you doing?
I'm fabulous.
Fabulous.
It's almost
and not
Christmas,
sorry
so.
a bit about it.
You're right. I'm not sorry. You'll like it too.
Also joining us is award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Mohr.
Doc, I think you need to apologize for murdering our names. Just saying.
Oh.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
It is a homicide.
Right.
Like the movie, but more entertaining.
Ladies and gents, that's direct all your emails to Christopher G. Mohr at. We are here to review the movie The Apology, streaming on SHUDDER. We're going to start off giving you our first impressions. Those first impressions will be spoiler-free. Then we'll dive into discussion and get into spoilers. Maybe not the biggest one, but I guess maybe we will. Kind of have to. And then we'll wrap things up with a score 1 to 5 and our favorite scene. And of course, we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. Check them out. And if you like what you see, hit the subscribe, like, share with a friend. Help us get to our goal of 5,000 subscribers. Only you can do that with every little click. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And of course, we'd love to hear your comments or read your comments,
depending
on how you do it down below. But let's take Let's take a look at the card and get things rolling. The Apology.
I don't know how to read. I'll just look at them.
Available streaming on SHUDDER beginning December 16th, 2022. That's nice.
Yeah.
20 years after the disappearance of her daughter, a recovering alcoholic is preparing to host her family's Christmas celebration when her estranged ex-brother-in-law arrives unannounced, bearing nostalgic gifts and a heavy secret. Written and directed by Alison, Locke. The stars Anna Gunn, Linus Roach, or Roach. Save me.
Roach,
I would too. I did first, but I think I can guess myself. And also Janine Garofalo.
Yee.
Yeah, there's a name you don't hear often in this genre.
I don't pronounce that often.
Oh, shit. All right, let's do this. Let's find out what our first impression is, starting off with the one and only Jeff Mohr. Jeff, let us have it.
Linus Roach.
Roach?
Mandy.
Yeah.
What?
He's great.
Mandy.
Really? What?
Yeah, he was the religious zealot in Mandy.
That's him?
Yeah, he's great in everything he's in.
Wow, I did not catch that at all.
Him. So anyway, that's probably good. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this. It's I don't want to take away from what anybody else said. It is a lot like a play. There's a lot of dialogue, but I really liked it from the kind of psychological side and the manipulation of
my gosh, yes.
The one character with others. That was anyway, I enjoyed it. I thought the acting was good. I like Anna Gunn. I thought she did very well in an emotional role. Same with Linus Roach. Janine Garofalo is excellent as this.
Yeah,
she's like the neighbor that's sort of super has a connection with her, with Anna Gunn's character, and is very loyal, but doesn't get what the hell is going
not at all.
on. And she does it really well. So I liked it.
All right. There you go. Okay. Crystal. Your first impression.
Okay, so I'll say this movie deals with some heavy subject matter. I wouldn't necessarily put a trigger warning on it because they do a really good job of implying it, and there's no showing, there's no, like, they stay away from that with like 1,000-foot pole. So it does have some triggers,
but they don't diminish the impact.
No, exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like, they did a good job of still, you only need to know what happens. You don't need to, see it. And sometimes I think that works out better. So I do appreciate the way this film handled this topic. I think the acting was phenomenal on all fronts. Like, Linus is great. He's great in everything that I've seen him in. So the lead, there's one scene that's probably going to be my favorite scene that I was like, oh yeah, I feel that. This film is not for everyone. It's for you horror lovers out there who want some blood and gore and guts and no, just avoid it. You're not going to like this. You're not going to enjoy it. This is going to be boring. It's going to be horrible, and you're going to rate it horribly.
Horribly.
So it's not for you. It's definitely it's a simple one. It's one location. The entire film is in one location, multiple rooms, but in one location. And I mean, shockingly, for a 2-person play, as you kind of say, like, it was entertaining for what it was. And I did really love the character development and the characters in general. Like, I mean, there's nothing like a man that does something truly horrible and yet blames everyone else for what he's done.
My God, yes.
I mean, it's just, so I was like, I mean, there was some of it I was like, man, this is, so it was entertaining and enjoyable. And there was a moment I jumped and I don't usually do that. So that was good. I think it was shot well. Like I said, though, it's not for everyone. I think a lot of people, if you want the horror, this is not for you. You can just avoid it. Okay? I'm just saying that straight up. Don't come back to me and say, well, Crystal, you liked it. So, no. You probably won't. That's all I'm saying. I enjoyed it. You probably won't. That is all. Yeah.
I like that. Speaking of that, the apology, Christopher. What was your first impression?
This would make a very good off Broadway play.
Off.
Yes. It's got really great performances.
Yeah.
So I'm not coming into this
okay, good.
Hateful or anything. The reason I said earlier I wasn't entertained by it is because it regardless of it not showing anything, I still think it can be triggering to people because just talking about it still makes you think about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes thinking about it, sort of like watching Seven, they don't show certain things, but you remake it, you reimagine it in your brain, and then that may bring up or trigger certain things in your past. So I will say some of the stuff they talk about in regards to a young girl can be possibly might bring up some trauma for people. Just saying that. This is a very one note, one concept thing, takes place in one location that I feel like this could have been a short film.
Yeah,
it didn't really need to be drawn out to an hour and a half because there's a lot of certain things I feel like it could have gotten to a whole lot earlier, but it has some really strong performances in it. I just think to me, it just felt a little too drawn out. Yeah, and you do. I mean, oh, it has one of the worst type of villains. You have this person who just thinks this guy who's just like gaslighting and
oh my God, you aren't kidding.
pawning off responsibility and not taking responsibility for his own actions and blaming other people. And that is the worst type of humans in this world. And this guy is every element of that. And also just how people try to sort of reimagine scenarios for their own benefit. So there's all that kind of stuff that, like, oh God, I think the way she deals with him is much more. I think I would have I think this movie would have ended 5 minutes in if I'd had anything to do with it. Because I just that guy's just the worst human being ever. So I think that can be off-putting to some people. Him just being this annoying human being that, and also just feeling so bad for this woman who's spent 20 years having to deal with the loss or not knowing what happened to her daughter. So yeah, I think, I think it's got some interesting elements and concepts, but it is very simplistic in that. And so again, it feels very drawn out that I feel like, I don't know. I kind of like get to it, but yeah, I mean, there's a few surprises here and there. And I think Janeane Garofalo is great in this. And I'm kind of glad how things kind of play out for her character. But as for entertaining, I wasn't entertained. I was just annoyed by this horrible human being and her having to deal with this person. So, and that's just more me personally. But yeah, I don't know. It felt stretched out. The concept felt like, okay, we have this simple thing. And I think this would definitely work well as a play, as a movie. I don't know. But I think those people who like more dramatic type scenarios that have a little tinge of horror in it, you might like it. But yeah, there's not a lot to it. So you just have to go into it knowing there's some really great performances, but it's just a one long conversation, an hour and a half conversation with a little bit of action here and there. So
there's some action, there's some guns,
there's some action in it, but it's still a conversation for the majority of it.
Yes, I was gripped by this movie. I really enjoyed our two characters and their interactions, and the manipulation, the gaslighting, I guess you said, as it becomes more and more evident, that's what this person is doing. And then when it's all out, his repeated attempts of trying to recapture the upper hand, and getting close. And then, it was like, there was tension for me. I was really involved, and I really liked how the characters, the movie takes place in one night as well. And these characters, all the characters involved, well, except for maybe Janeane Garofalo, because she's just a supporting character, but the two leads, their characters change from the beginning of this movie to the end of the movie in a lot of different ways. And the two characters had a history and a certain interaction between them to start off. So there was, he had some groundwork for his manipulation, and then to find out what he did. I was gripped. I found it very, very gripping. I found it it's a thriller, definitely is more than a horror film, but the horror in here is just how awful people can be.
Oh yeah.
And that's one of the most unfortunate horrors out there. It's just people suck. And this is an example of people sucking the most.
Somebody told me that once. Yeah.
People suck.
I don't think it's simple at all. I think it's if it was simple, there wouldn't be so many screwed up people out there. They're trying to unravel this. She was an alcoholic when her daughter disappeared, and may well have been why her daughter took a ride with somebody she shouldn't have.
Well, she knew him too.
I think that's absolutely wrong, because I would
just wait. I'd
get in a vehicle with my.
I'm talking about her point of view, Crystal. I'm not talking about whether she should feel that way or not.
No, who wouldn't get in the car with their uncle though?
Okay, I was trying not to give too much away. So okay, so
we are in spoilers. We're on spoilers. So
we're in
yeah,
spoilers.
sorry.
So okay, so he goes. Yeah, her uncle picks her up, but her uncle wouldn't have been picking her up if the mother had picked her up.
Right.
And I
That's
assumed
true.
from the story that that's what she was supposed
Okay.
to do. I'm
Yeah.
not blaming the mother at all. That's not at all. I'm just saying where her guilt comes from. She's been on a 19-year
Phew.
sobriety journey, and there's a whole lot of shit going on there. And on top of that, she's working for other missing children and families, and so she's been working on that. So and
still struggling with
and in fact
alcoholism.
she's going through a crisis. Yeah, she's right on the edge of a crisis. Anyway, I think it's very complicated. Her and the way that she works it, the way that she does not let him manipulate her and gaslight her at this point is a testament to the journey she's been on for like the last 20 years. Even though she was ready to drink, she's every part of that I thought was integral. I didn't think there was any, I didn't feel like it was padded at all. I mean, I could see little steps all
found it
along
to
the
be
way.
repetitive at times.
Yeah,
Well, it did volley back and forth. I mean, and that's
it just kept going back
of
to
course.
the same stuff over and over.
It wasn't
to
the
me,
same
that
stuff,
just
though.
Well, to me, there was a progression to it. I found a progression to the.
I think it went back and forth. I think, at least for me.
No, I can see that. I can see it.
But I mean, it is a sort of them playing mind games with each other, because there's even that point where she says one thing and then she does something different later on in regards to what she would do if she'd ever met the person. I found that kind of interesting, but I don't know. I at some point I felt like they just kept going into the same area over and over. So that repetition, that's the reason I said it was kind of simple, because it didn't really, they were just basically going at the same stuff over and over. And it's just her trying to find different ways to get out of this situation and him trying to find ways to manipulate the situation. So it was just a cat and mouse or a cat and cat game, I guess, throughout the whole movie.
The stakes the stakes kept getting bigger and bigger as we went along. But
yeah,
I did enjoy the thunder snow aspect to it, that they brought in there and the lights going out and stuff.
But here's my thing. What was his goal? I think I know. I just want to know what y'all think his goal was.
He was wanting her to kill him. He was wanting a way out.
Do you think so? You really think that's what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
I
thought that's what he was there for.
I don't think so.
Do you think he was going to kill her?
Ultimately, I don't know. I mean, I think it's odd that if he really wanted her to kill him, he kept escaping at every point.
Well, I think
he still tried to manipulate her. He's still like, I mean, here's the thing. He's clearly a psychopath.
Right.
Like the fact that he held on to this for 20 years. I mean, come on.
Well, he even had the book, right? He had the diary.
But he also, this happened and it's affected him mentally. You mentioned the anxiety type issues and stuff. So I think in some ways he's such a coward, he can't, I guess kill himself or whatever. So he's wanting to find this other person. And I guess that's the apology or him getting, I don't know.
He was trying to make himself feel better.
Well,
I think
but making her feel better
because
to kill him.
And that's why that's why he came to her to unload everything. I think he only did it in the way that he did it, just in case things went sideways. I absolutely think he didn't want to kill her. I don't think that he necessarily wanted to kill her.
Oh, no, I think he did.
I think he was either that or he wanted her to forgive him and run off with him, because there was a history between them. They had an affair.
He might have wanted that, but he also, there was at one point where he escapes out of the basement where he's yelling at her saying, no one will think twice. You're an alcoholic that killed themselves on Christmas Eve.
See, that's exactly.
But I think he did that to get her mad to kill him. I think
No.
he did that to
He
get
was
her to
still
kill
trying
him.
to manipulate her the whole
No,
time.
he was trying to manipulate her, but I think he was still manipulating her to get mad to strike back at him, because he knows how to, like, where to stick that knife to irritate her. I
he
mean,
came to unburden himself
Yes,
to make
that's
himself
true.
feel better.
Yep.
Because let's be real,
Yeah.
like when someone cheats on someone and after 20 years, okay, granted, he should have told her the truth, whatever. But after 20 years, when that person decides to unburden themselves on their spouse, they're not doing it for their spouse. They're doing it for themselves. Because
Yeah.
come on, they didn't need to know that at that point. Okay. Like she did need closure. Okay. This is a different scenario. I mean,
yeah.
obviously, we're talking about a completely different situation here. She needs closure so she can try to move forward. It's sad that she didn't get
But
closure
that's not what he
before.
was after. He wasn't wanting her to have closure. He was
I
wanting her
think,
to.
He was
he
making
begged
himself
her
feel
to
better.
give the gun and let him do it to himself. I don't think he'd have shot himself.
No, he's
I
a
don't
coward.
He'd have
He's a
tried to
coward.
escape.
No. He's he's a horrible. He can, like, hurt other people and kill another person.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and so that, I guess that's the main. Although I think for me, I don't know about you guys, I kind of wanted to see what happened Christmas Day with the family.
I know.
Oh my God! Yes, because they
With
were
what?
horrible.
Kind of
Oh, on
wanted to see
Christmas
it.
Day?
Family, yeah. Mhm.
I kind of was hoping that we would get
I
that,
know, that would be
get
awesome.
that, her hosting.
Because when Janine, she's like, what are you going to do with him? Just like have this do. Yeah. Oh, God.
I don't know. Maybe that's just a weird person in me, but I was kind of interested to see how Christmas Day was going to go with the family, considering everything that happened. But I don't know. That would have been very awkward. But
You're
but
like,
yeah,
Merry Christmas. Mhm. Yeah.
I got a
So I
present
think
for
it's a
everybody.
It's a character study.
Oh,
I
definitely.
think,
Yes, exactly.
for sure.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean,
well, yeah, and how, like, he was almost very bipolar as well, where he was like,
because
one
I
minute
think
he's
that
like,
he's confused. I think he feels enough guilt to want to die, actually. I'm not denying that. But I also think he doesn't really want to die. I can't explain his mentality, but I know that personality type.
Well, but I
think
think
keeps
you
coming at
prefer
it
for
from
her
every
to
different
forgive him
direction.
and run off with him. So.
Yeah.
well, I think it's the same thing where he was trying to, I think he also has that imaginary thing in his head, and like the same thing with the daughter. He has this, oh, maybe this will play out this way because it's in my mind. And so I think that's what he thought, I think, because that's why he thought, well, okay, maybe
He thought he was going to go and feel better, and then if they could get together, that would absolve him.
that
Yeah.
would be.
He had some kind of fantasy in his head that he was going to get her to see that.
Well, he was at that at first, right?
Yes, because he.
Well,
hit
it's
on her,
that whole sort of incel type stuff, where they just they have this mentality where they think, oh, everybody's against me, or if they only saw how good a person I really am, type situation.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah,
that's what's the best about his character, I think.
It's rich, right? It's thick. There's a lot going on.
But let me tell you something else. He supposedly wants her to kill him, and I'll totally negate what you're saying, because he sure didn't decide to unload or unburden until he made sure that she didn't have a recorder.
Yeah.
So if he really wanted her,
He also
to kill
took the
him,
knife
why
from
would he
her
care?
too, right? Because at the
Yeah.
beginning he took the knife.
The
from her.
whole knife,
Exactly.
the whole
Of
knife
course.
block.
Exactly. It's still just a manipulation. Like I said, I think in one regard he does want to die. I do think he feels bad. I think he has a lot of guilt and he wants redemption. But I don't necessarily think he wants redemption through death. And
Yeah,
I mean, he went to her house without anyone knowing. I mean, because he didn't know. I don't think he knew for sure how it was gonna.
He just wanted. He'd rather die than go to jail.
Although I think
that was the only reason he wanted.
my only-
maybe.
my only critique with her character is hide your weapons, lady. Hide your weapons. Why do you? Every time she have a weapon, she'd hold it out. I was like, hide it and then hit the sucker, because this movie would have ended like 45 minutes in.
Oh, she got him with the hockey stick finally. Right.
She did, but she had that big metal thing, she could have easily conked him out, but she just, I was like, come on, hide it.
Oh boy. Yeah.
But that's just movie logic for
Well,
me.
they were,
dramatic
but
characters.
that was, I like that they were, when Gretchen, Janine Garofalo's character,
yeah.
comes over, that they're struggling with what to do. You know,
Yeah.
the average person doesn't have, super good binding, ropes and cables and whatever handy. They're anyway.
Oh, I don't
feel like that bed was strong enough. That would make me nervous.
Although I did
think
enjoy
the bed would break.
I did enjoy her like, well, what's happening here?
Yes.
What's going on? And I was like, that just felt like a natural response to that situation. But she's still willing to help
because I would too. Well, you also know that, let's be real, you've got two women and some man, and you saw your friend fighting with some man, physically fighting. Yeah, I would help her first and ask questions later, because the man is, stronger. You got to subdue him first, for sure. Yeah. Then find out what the heck's going on.
Yeah, because I liked her reaction. Like when she had the gun, she was just in the floor on, she didn't know what to do.
All right. Here's what I think. I think that her and what is her name? Darlene and Gretchen. I think Gretchen was her sponsor in AA or some recovery program, because they made the comment that she knows everything about me. And so if she would have done that self-confession, a fifth step where you tell them everything that you've done, they would know that. Plus the way that Darlene acts when she's talking to him, when they finally have him tied up and she's in control, she talks to him the way a sponsor talks to people that are bullshitting around what they did. What did you really do? What did you do?
See, that's something I didn't even catch. So that's good. Yeah, I don't.
That's interesting. Sure. I didn't take that. Yeah. I get that either.
I can see that.
That's awesome. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up and give our score 1 to 5 and our favorite scene. I believe Jeff. Is it Christopher?
I think it
was Jeff. I was first.
I think it's Jeff.
Yep. It's Jeff. Okay. I thought it was.
Don't mess with me like that.
Don't gaslight him.
I'm giving this a 4, and probably partially because it's got personal connections to me, and I could definitely see what was going on psychologically between these two characters, even within themselves, even without the other person. What those layers are. But I thought the acting was great. So, favorite scene, I'm gonna say my favorite scene was when he's trying to tell her about how hard he's had it.
Oh, God.
And then she goes into that monologue about all those years of not knowing. Maybe she ran away from me because of the way I treated her, that me being an alcoholic, and all these years of recording all of my phone calls every time somebody called me in the middle of the night, whether it was they thought they saw somebody, or they had a dream, or they thought they had a vision, and it was always there. It was always there. That whole monologue I thought was really impactful and emotional, and should have shut his ass down right away, but he'd build up a lot of barricades.
He's too selfish.
But anyway, that's why.
Yep. That's good. All right, Crystal, your score 1 to 5 favorite scene.
So I'm gonna give it a 3.5, and my favorite scene is when he first tells her and she's in the kitchen, and she falls down. I totally feel that. Something so emotional that it dropped her to her knees. I don't know if y'all have ever felt that, but I have been there. And so I just felt that she's just kind of checks out for a bit. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it was very impactful. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Christopher, your score 1 to 5 and your favorite scene, the apology.
Well, let me just say right here, I think this is a well-made film. It's well acted. My main issue is just me. I was uncomfortable watching this because uncomfortable with the situation, especially when he's in that bed. He talks about what happened. I just can't stand that. I can't. It's just bothersome. and as someone actually who had issues when I was a kid, a female cousin. So those kind of situations are bothersome. So, but that should not take away from the really great performances in this. This is some really wonderful performances and some good dialogue as well. So I'll give it a, I guess I'll give it 3.5. I mean, I'll give it for the strength of the performances in this. Although there is, there's some really bad CGI snow at times, and
oh really?
Yeah.
and there's a part with the daughter in the mirror. That was cheesy as hell.
That was.
But
sad,
but here's the thing: with all the great performances, here's my favorite scene.
Oh no!
It's when Janeane Garofalo was with her dog. It's calling. For some reason, I just felt like a very natural thing when you have like that goofy, the fun friend. And we're like, and she's like, even when she leaves a message, it's just click before she hangs up. And then she's talking to her dog. It's like, should we go? Oh, something's going on. I don't know. I just felt, I don't know. It was a very funny scene in this very dark, dreary movie.
It needed it,
and needed that. And I just loved her character so much. So that's my favorite scene. Even though there's some really great performances and monologues, I'm that weird person who's like, oh, that's my favorite moment in the film.
Dog.
The dog. I'll give this 3.5 as well. It's curious that this ended up on Shudder. I mean, it's
because it's different.
It's different, and I kind of applaud them for bringing some of these. It's not supernatural. It's not a serial killer. It's not this, but I mean, it does have these. It's the horror of humans. Humans are horrible people, and this is just spotlighting one of those. And so it does have that tension. It's a thriller. What I already said 3.5, right? So my favorite scene, I did not realize what the apology was going to be going into this. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? And then when he, takes the knife from her and starts to tell her, I was like, oh crap, that's where we're going. Mm-hmm. I was like, and I just never took that step, right? It never occurred to me, and like, oh crap. And that was, I found what was happening there very interesting because of the way he was preparing to apologize, which is manipulative, but at the same time, he's putting all the pieces in place, and he's taking a knife from her. He's making her sit down and everything. And, he's already, reapproached the connection that they had and reestablished that and kind of teased it a little bit. It was just like, oh, you bastard, you're a shit. And so anyway, and I think it leads to your scene, Crystal, right? Where she hears it and collapses. Yeah. It's just that really sets the movie off. And then if it's not that, it's the thunder snow scene with the lights going out. I don't know why.
Thunder. I've never heard of thunder snow, so that's
really
for me. Yeah, is that a thing?
It's
really?
It's unusual.
Yep,
but it happens.
There you go. That's our review for The Apology. It's streaming now on Shudder. Check it out. It's the Christmas film. It is on Christmas Eve, right?
Well, I don't.
Oh my god!
A whole family should watch it together.
Sit around the campfire.
Get out the s'mores.
Honestly, no.
No, we're misleading you. Stop. But do check it out. Let us know what you think in the comments down below.
Shudder always has a great variety of different types of films. So.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This one isn't for everyone.
Yes. Know that.
All right. Well,
it's good though, but
yeah. Well, Crystal, Christopher, Jeff, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Yep, always fun.
All right,
you'll know coming.
Let's say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Gruesome Magazine.